In the quiet village of Nurabad, where mud huts stood humbly among fields of wheat and mustard, there lived a poor water carrier named Rahim. He was not rich, nor was he strong, but he was known for his gentle smile and honest work. Each day, before dawn broke, he would walk to the nearby river, fetch water in his 2 clay pots, and carry them back to the village. Rahim owned only 2 pots. They were his companions, his livelihood, and in many ways, his only friends. One pot was perfect, smooth, round, unblemished. The other was cracked. A thin fracture ran along its side, from the rim to the base. The crack was small, but with every journey from river to village, water would leak from it. By the time Rahim reached the houses, the cracked pot would be only half full, while the perfect pot remained brimming. For years, Rahim carried them both, never complaining. But deep inside, the cracked pot carried a heavy sorrow. The pots hung on either side of Rahim's bamboo pole. The perfect pot often looked smug, proud of delivering every drop. The cracked pot, however, looked down at the ground in shame. One morning as the sun rose and birds chirped in the neem tree, the cracked pot whispered, "Brother, I envy you. You give Rahim your full worth, but me? I waste half my water before we even reach the village. I'm nothing but a burden." The perfect pot smirked. "It's true. I'm whole, you are broken. One is useful, the other? Well, better not to speak." The cracked pot sighed deeply. Each step back to the village felt heavier than the water it carried. For weeks, the cracked pot remained silent. But the weight of guilt pressed harder each day. Finally, one morning as Rahim filled them at the river, the cracked pot spoke to its master. "Rahim," it said softly, almost trembling, "I must confess something. Forgive me, but I have failed you. I leak water on every journey. You work hard, yet I return half empty. Please replace me with a new pot." Rahim stopped, the water still rippling in the river. He looked at the pot lovingly. "My friend," he said, "why do you think you have failed me? Because I'm cracked. Because I am not whole. Because I am not like the other pot." Rahim smiled gently but said nothing more. Instead, he lifted the pole onto his shoulders and began walking back. As they walked along the dusty path lined with wild grass, the cracked pot wept silently. Droplets of water leaked out and fell onto the earth, darkening the soil wherever they landed. "Look," the cracked pot cried, "see how I waste myself. What good is a pot that cannot hold water?" The perfect pot gleamed proudly on the other side. "He speaks the truth, Master Rahim. He wastes your effort. Perhaps it is time you discard him." But Rahim remained quiet. His eyes were fixed on the road ahead, his lips curved in a knowing smile. That evening, after delivering the water, Rahim set the pots down gently. He turned to the cracked pot and spoke softly. "My dear friend, tomorrow as we walk back from the river, I want you to look carefully at the path we take. Notice what you see along your side of the road." The cracked pot was puzzled but agreed. The next morning, as Rahim lifted the pole and began his journey, the cracked pot kept its eyes wide open. Along its side of the path, the soil was damp and fertile. And to its surprise, little shoots of green sprouted here and there. By the time they reached the village, the cracked pot whispered, "I saw small plants along the road, Master." Rahim only smiled. "Keep watching tomorrow." Days passed, and the cracked pot watched eagerly. The tiny shoots grew taller, leaves unfurled, and soon buds began to appear. Then one glorious morning, the cracked pot gasped. Bright marigolds, daisies, and wild roses bloomed all along its side of the path. Yellow, red, and purple blossoms swayed in the breeze, their fragrance filling the air. "Subhanallah," whispered the pot. "These flowers, they are beautiful." Rahim chuckled warmly. "Yes, my friend. They grew because of you. Every drop you thought was wasted watered these flowers. Because of your crack, this barren path turned into a garden." The cracked pot was stunned. I did this?" "Yes," Rahim replied. "Each flaw we carry can be turned into something beautiful, if only we see it with the right eyes." For the first time in years, the cracked pot no longer felt ashamed. Instead of seeing weakness, it now saw purpose. When they walked the next day, it leaked water proudly. Watching the flowers bloom brighter, the perfect pot once so arrogant, looked at the colorful path in silence. It had carried full loads of water for years, but it had left nothing behind. The cracked pot, though broken, had left a trail of beauty. Soon the villagers noticed. Children plucked flowers and played with them. Women gathered blossoms to decorate their homes. On Fridays, people carried garlands to the mosque. The path from the river to the village became famous as the Flower Road. Travelers paused to admire it. Poets wrote verses about it, and brides walked upon it on their wedding days, and all of it existed because of a cracked pot. One evening, as Rahim sat under the banyan tree, villagers gathered around him. They asked, "Rahim, how did this barren path become so full of flowers?" Rahim smiled and pointed to his cracked pot. Because of him. He thought he was weak, but his weakness created beauty for others. Remember, no flaw is wasted in Allah's world. Sometimes our cracks allow His mercy to flow where it is needed most. The villagers nodded thoughtfully. Some looked at their own lives, their own scars, their own flaws, and for the first time, they did not feel ashamed. Years later, Rahim grew old. His beard turned white, his steps slower, but he never stopped carrying his pots. The perfect pot remained the same, but the cracked pot, oh, how it glowed with pride every time it saw the flowers. When Rahim passed away, the villagers kept the cracked pot in the mosque courtyard. They planted flowers around it, and children were told the story. That pot was cracked, yet it made the world beautiful. Remember, your flaws don't make you useless. They make you unique. And so the cracked pot became a symbol of hope, teaching generations that kindness, beauty, and purpose can be found even in imperfection.